On this episode of Inspiration Nation, we're going to be doing an S13 steering rack conversion on our 88 Chrysler Conquest because the factory Conquest steering system is kind of garbage. So we want to improve that, especially if we're going to be doing a whole lot of road coursing. The first thing we've got to do is get the factory steering components out of the car. Now, our car is already completely stripped down, so if you're doing this on your Conquest or Starion, you've got a lot more to go through than we do. But it's there. We're going to get the steering crap out of the way now, and stay tuned. Wes, roll the time lapse. The plus side to this being a 40,000 mile chassis is there's really no rust. The bolts are pretty much coming right off, and you're just able to break them loose with a simple wrench. I totally just mashed my finger, but I kept my composure. All for the camera. You guys will never see this part of the episode. Right, Wesley? You're not going to show the people I smashed my finger. Ow! Now we got to get the steering box and the pitman arm thingy off. Pretty sure there's a technical term for it, but you got pitman arm thingy on Inspiration Nation. Alright, so now the next step is we have our S13 steering rack. I didn't even touch that, sorry. S13 steering rack, and now we're going to mark where center is. And I'm already rough ideaing that I'm going to cut right where the motor mount perches are because it looks like they're close to the same on the Conquest. But I'm going to mark center, trim them off, and then start looking at how to graft them together. Very fast way to ruin about $200 worth of engine cradle. Don't look on eBay. They're non-existent nowadays. We'd like to take a second to thank all of our sponsors. Jigs, Bad Dog Tools, TMI Racing, and Track Advantage. Just saying. Gotta throw one in there for you guys. Now that we got the S13 cradle all cleaned up, time to start filleting on the Conquest cradle. Of all the tools in the shop, I got no good blades. So, Bad Dog Tools to the rescue. Now we have to find the center on the Conquest crossmember. Now that we've got the piece of our 240SX rack, not really the rack, but the cradle. Now that we got the cradle welded or tacked into place onto the Conquest cradle, it's time to move over to the ball joint end of the situation. Now when you're doing just a standard 240SX rack swap or the S13 swap, most people would just run the ball joints and they would have to tackle that whole thing. We opted for a set of the Heim joints adjustable ball joint ends or tie rod ends. They go right onto your factory S13 inner tie rods, and it just puts a, I don't know what that long adjustable nut is, and heim joints. So what we're gonna have to do is take a 5/8 drill bit and drill out the actual spindle mounting portion, which is where the ball joint goes into the spindle. The only downside to this is once I put a 5/8 hole through this eyelet here, it may make this outside wall just a little bit thin, and what I'll end up doing is reinforcing that with a piece of like steel that'll kind of go around it, and we'll just weld it. But for right now, we're gonna get the brake assembly tore down. We're gonna put a drill bit through this bad boy and get it all bolted together and make sure it's all gonna work so we can move on to our steering column and all that fun stuff. Now that everything is mocked up, tacked into place, and we know it all works, we're gonna pull it all out so that we can flip it over and plate the bottom of the cross members to make sure that they're strong and they're not gonna fall apart. Reinforcing, boxing it all in, making it pretty. I'm gonna weld the top part solid, and then I'll end up taking and cleaning all the rest of the bottom and everything so that I can cut that temporary support off and start plating it and making it look really nice, because there's a couple areas where you need to get to the top bolts that hold the rack in. I want to make sure I put like a tubing or some kind of sleeve so that it makes it easier to get in and out. You know, not guessing what hole to go in. You can just look up there and be like, that's how I pull the rack out. I do want to take a minute to apologize for all of this filming in this particular episode. I'm doing a lot of this solo because with the time schedule of this car, I'm pretty much working on it every night. And Wesley, the man behind the camera, and the gorgeous fella you see walking around with a big camera from time to time, he's at home doing the real work on the whole editing of these videos. So sorry for the crappy camera angles, but this is what you got. Disclaimer, Wes will be returning in the next video. This is difficult. Now I'm going to take some poster board and start boxing in all the areas to where the two pieces of the cradles are mated together. It helps box them in, make them stronger, and make it look a lot better. Now I don't have to tell you what we're going to do next, right? Now we have the side supported and the top welded solid. It's time to flip it over and make the bottom piece that will tie it all together and finish our cross member. There you have it, guys. It's all boxed in and welded in. Super strong. Now all we got to do is reinstall it in the car. If you are installing this rack and pinion setup in your stock configuration with stock steering column and all that, I shouldn't say shit. You are more than likely going to run into a steering angle issue with your steering column. It won't affect us because #race car, but if you're trying to conform to your stock steering column, you may have a little trouble. But everything else lines up beautifully, and it will far outperform the original crap that was in the car to begin with. There you have it, guys. A general idea of what to expect when installing an S13 rack and pinion steering in your Mitsubishi Starion or Chrysler Conquest. I hope this video has helped you guys out, especially getting out there and working on these cars. We have to save them. Do not let them disappear into oblivion. Swap them, put God's motor in them, put a Dodge motor in them, just keep them alive, keep modifying them. I want to see more of these cars in the future, So everybody, happy modifying. And I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button so you can follow this build all the way to SEMA. With that being said, we'll see you on the next one.